Well, good morning. We're live from the Buzz Center here at the Bio International Convention in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm Gary Gasper. I am a board member and treasurer of the Charcot-Marie Tooth Association, CMTA. I'm here joined by Susan Ruediger, who is also with the CMTA, and we're here to talk a little bit about CMT, the research that we've been doing, and what we have to offer in terms of partnership with NIH, university research, as well as bio and pharma. So let me turn to Susan and ask Susan, how did you get involved with the CMT?
Well, I have CMT, which is inherited peripheral neuropathy. I was diagnosed when I was 22 months old because I wasn't walking. It's a genetic disorder, and we can trace it back 5 generations in my family. And today there are 18 people in my extended family who are living with the disease.
You know, my son also has CMT. He's much younger. But again, it is a genetic, degenerative, peripheral neuropathy. And there are a number of types. CMT1A is the most common. The good news is that they know what causes it. In the case of CMT1A, it's a duplication of a gene, a PMP22 gene. So our goal is to try and figure out how do we downregulate it, and we've made serious advances in that, which we'll talk about in a second. But how does it affect you?
Well, when I was a child, I definitely had difficulty walking, getting around. Always picked last for the sports team in gym class, which, you know, has its emotional effects as well. As I grew older, I started tripping more often over my own toes. I started spraining my ankles frequently. I started falling regularly. I was actually designated as class klutz for my senior year of high school. And when my parents told me when I was 17 years old why all these things were happening, I felt a lot of relief that I knew what was going on. So I became involved with the CMTA when my daughter was born. And a genetic disease is no longer about me and my symptoms, but it becomes about the possibility of passing on the disease to my daughter. So I went to my local neurologist, and he said, "There's nothing I can do for you." And I called the CMTA and said, "Who do you have on the ground in Atlanta," which is where I live? And they said, "Nobody." And so I said, "How do I find people on the ground in Atlanta?" And they said, "You start a support group." So 5 years ago, I started a support group, and at our first meeting, we had 50 people show up. And every single person who came said, "Who is on the ground here in Atlanta who knows how to treat CMT?" The answer was nobody.
Unbelievable. So that was a number of years ago, and again, one of the successes of the CMTA is this robust support group we have nationwide. As I mentioned, the good news is we do know what causes it. The other good news is that we've been doing some significant research in this area, working with NIH and Jim Iglesias at the NCGC, as well as some university researchers around the country. As we highlight in many of our materials, a number of years ago, research was conducted in different ways through patient advocacy groups. What we decided to do about 4 years ago was start a program which we call STAR, the Strategic Acceleration of Research. A strategy to accelerate research is how we describe it. And it is a methodical, focused approach which has set up a timeline in which we will first develop cell assays of CMT, second, go through high throughput screenings of FDA-approved drugs, third, take it to animal models, fourth, move it on into human trials and develop further assays. And again, the great news on all this is that we've done much of this already. We have developed a number of cell assays. We have worked with NIH, and NIH has basically put a high throughput screening test for all the FDA-approved compounds that they have in their libraries against these cell assays. And again, great news. We've got anywhere between 5 and 10 hits off of those FDA-approved drugs. Now, importantly, those drugs have been developed by some of the major companies who are here at Bio today, some of which are cancer companies and others. And so we hope to work with them in the future to further develop that. But those hits have now resulted in a further development into the animal models. And the good news is we've developed animal models that replicate the CMT disorder, and we are now going to move forward with those compounds into animal models. We're also going to develop IPS assays to deal with this. And again, just moving forward, thanks to the leadership of Pat Livney here at the CMTA and others, we're very excited about all this. And so I know you've been involved with some of that effort and also with the development of the patient database and the broad, robust patient group that we have. I don't know if you want to spend some time talking about that as well.
Yeah, in the last 36 months, we had started 36 months ago with about 15 support groups, which served about 50 people per group. We're now up to 70 in North America, and we think we serve 7,000 to 7,500 people monthly through those support groups. I have watched in Atlanta my group grow over time, and the resources that are provided there, they're tremendous. They provide a tremendous benefit to the patient. One of the things that's really great about those support groups is we're able to engage each one of those people into the CMTA. We have access in a patient database of 33,000. So we have plenty of people. While CMT affects 150,000 people in the U.S., we believe, 33,000 people of those have come to us. We imagine the rest of the people haven't come because their doctors tell them, there's nothing we can do for you. And they think at home, why should I get engaged when there's nothing to do?
That's fantastic. And so we have this database of patients who have CMT, who are energized, who are all searching for a treatment or cure to it. We also have our researchers who have been working with NIH and through the universities developing these assays, developing the high throughput screening, developing the animal trials, and moving on to IPS trials. We're now moving to the next stage of trying to partner with biotech companies and with pharmas and have so much to offer in that respect, in the sense of having this great, robust patient group that we have access to, having a world-class advisory board led by Dr. Michael Schei and Stephen Shearer and others. Our animal models were developed at the Max Planck Institute. As we turn to that, we're very excited about the prospects of working through that with them. We also have developed a number of tests and basically developed a neuropathy scale in which we can determine whether or not something is actually working in humans as a result of that. So again, all this great exciting news. We're very excited about the future, and if you look back over the last 3 years, thanks to a change in leadership and a direction under the STAR approach, we have moved the ball tremendously, and we look forward to moving forward again. I'm not sure if you've got any other comments about the research side of it and the relationships that we've been developing, even here at BIO.
Well, one of the things that's been so fantastic about the research that we're doing is the heavy hitters that we have involved with us. When I've been talking to other people here at BIO about what the CMTA has been doing, when I talk about University of Pennsylvania, University of Wisconsin, the Max Planck Institute, Stanford University, eyebrows are raised, and I have been told, you have the best scientific team working for CMT, working with the CMTA. It's something I feel very proud about, and it also is something that gives me tremendous hope, knowing that we're working with the world's best scientists on this disease.
Well, that's exactly right. And again, it's just to reemphasize it, having FDA-approved drugs that show efficacy and taking those to the next level and developing additional assays is really so much far along the way. And again, knowing what causes it and trying to just down-regulate this PMP22 gene in a short term so people can have treatment is really what we're all about. So again, I think it's a very exciting time for us, and it's some time that we're looking forward to working more closely with the biotech sector and with the pharmas as we develop our research and have joint partnerships and actually provide some funding for that. So we're looking forward to partner and fund additional projects to move it to the next level, and hopefully within a short period of time have a treatment that will result in benefits for all the CMT patients that we deal with.
Yeah, and I would really like to thank Genzyme for inviting us here. It was through a patient contact that we got in touch with the people at Genzyme, and when we told them what we were all about, they said, you need to be at BIO, and they connected us with Emily and the team at BIO who invited us here today. So it's because of the people at Genzyme and BIO that we've been able to really, even this week, see progress in our connections and progress in our networking.
You know, in addition to Genzyme, there also is Millennium and others who have sponsored this patient advocacy form here at Bio, which again, we wouldn't be here without their help and support. And in fact, we would look forward to working with many of these companies as we move forward on our research. So with that, I hope you will join us in our efforts and hopefully follow more of this conversation on I Am Biotech. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.